Hello guys, kindly check this application out. When we say submit, we say date is required. Let's select any date. 10th January 2022. So let's finally submit. We say date is what? 10th January 2022. So that is that, guys. Let's develop this using React Hooks form. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following. 1. npm install Tailwindcss forms, and 2. npm install React Hook form. Now a quick one with the Tailwind form. Let's go to Google and paste it there. We say, let's check npm. After the installation, there is another thing to do, which is what require. So you copy this to your tailwind.config.js and you paste it there. This is mine. So that is that. I have a video on installing React with Tailwind. So if you have issues installing Tailwind, kindly check the description below. So guys, with all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating two folders in our SRC folder. Call the first one assets and call the second one components. Now let's take the first one, assets. Now with this project, we have no spinners or images, so we leave it blank. Move to the second one, components, and create a file and call it dateapp.js. Now with RAFCE, instead of ordinary div, why don't we make it react.fragment? So we say react.fragment. Okay. But inside that, we can have a section. Inside the section, we can now have a div. Inside a div, let's say hello. Let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. So we call dateapp. Dateapp. Yeah, that's it. Let's import it. Import date app from where? From components. Then date app. Let's check our screen if we get hello on the screen. Great, we got hello on the screen, means we're ready to go. Let's reposition everything since it's mobile first. Good, ready to go. Now let's close the app.js. Now we are with the hello. Now let's take it off and create a form. So inside the form now, let's have the div for the background. So inside that, we can make class name bg white, width let's give it auto, height let's give it 96, then what, let's give it mx, let's give it 5, let's give it mt, let's give it 20, make it rounded lg. Good. So that is that for the background. Now let's work on the header. So we say header section. So for the header, let's create a div. Inside the div, let's call a p tag. Then let's say validate date input. Good. Let's give it a class name. Let's call it uppercase. Test for Excel. Font bold. Yeah, that's it. Let's give it a height. So we go to the class name and say let's give it a height of 28. Then let's give flex item center and justify center. Good. So that is that. Let's give it some shadow. Good. So we ready with the header. Now let's go to the body. So over here we can say body section. Now with the body section, let's create a div. Good. Now inside the div, let's create two divs. Let's call one and create another one, div, and call it error. Yeah, so the second div will handle the error. The first div will be the input, so let's center it and say class name, let's say grid justify center. Good. Let's give it empty, let's give it 14. Good. So now let's work on one. Let's put the input here. So we say input. Inside the input we need a type. So we say type equals date. Let's give it a class name equals width. Let's give it 96. Then let's give it test 3 XL. Then let's make it rounded LG. Good. What else? Let's give it, okay, I think that is that. Okay, we can work our submit button now. So this div is our body. And the next one is going to be our submit button. So we say submit btn section. So over here to create a div, and inside the div let's create an input tag. Inside that let's call the type. Let's call the type equals what, submit, and let's call the value equals what, submit, then what, class name equals, let's give it width to fit, then height, let's give it 10, bg green 700, let's give it test white font bold and rounded LG. So that is that. Let's center it. Go to the div, and we say class name equals what, flex justify center, and what, item center. Good. So that is that. Let's give it some margin, type empty, let's give it 14. Good, we're good to go. So that is that. We're ready for validation. Now let's go to Google and say Google React hook form. Okay, let's open that. Go to get started. npm install React hook form. We've done that already, so let's import. Copy that. Just make it bigger. So we say paste it there. Next, let's go back again and copy the events. Then we go back, then we paste it there. We say handle events. So let's paste that one too there. Good. Now let's go back again and work on the handle submit. So we copy the handle submit too. Then we go back to our code and we say handle submit. Yeah, let's paste it there. It's alert console.log. Let's make it alert data. So we say alert into brackets or JSON, no, not JSON capitals, JSON dot stringify into bracket data. So that is that with a handle submit. Now next one is what, the form. okay, the on submit on the form. So let's check it out. Now we go to the on submit on the form, we copy that too, then we paste it. We go to the form, we paste it. Good. What is left? Let's check it out. Now should we submit our form? You should see an empty data. Good. Form is working. Now next thing to do is to what? Get the event for the date. Okay, so let's get a sample event. So let's copy that and go paste it after the class name. Put it there. Name, let's change the name to date, and let's require this true. Let's make it dynamic. So we say date is what required. Good. So that is that. Next, let's handle the error. Let's look at the example. So this is it. Let's copy that too and say, so let's put this inside. Good. The errors dot date and span, this field is required. Let's make it dynamic. So we say errors dot date dot message. So let's check it out. So should we say submit? It says date is required. Okay, so let's make this date red. So red, let's the span, let's give it a class name and say test sm and test red 500. So that is that. Let's check it out. So when we say submit, it says date is required. Now the date is required is red, but the focus is still blue. Let's change the focus to also red. So with that, we need to make the class name to dynamic. So let's take the quote off, introduce the bracket, then introduce the dynamic quote, which is under the escape button. So introduce that, then inside that we can now have our dollars, dollar in bracket. Good. So that is that. So inside that, we say errors dot date and give it a class name, focus red, focus ring red, and border red. So that is that. Let's check it out. So when we finally say submit, it says what? Date is required. You see the focus to now changes to red. So let's select any of the date. Let's take 19th. You realize that everything changes. So finally we submit. We say date is what? 2022-01-19. So that is that, guys. Finally, let's make our app responsive, then we can say cheers. So to do that, let's go to the mother div and say at small screen make the width full, and at medium screen make the width 4/5. Then at same medium screen make the MX auto. Then at large screen make the width 2/5. Then at same large screen make the MX auto. So that is that. Let's check it out. So finally we say, so that is that, guys. Thank you so much for sticking through. Don't forget to do good. Catch you in the next one. We say peace.